What is going on, everybody? Today we will be reacting to GamerAxe's, this is basically a AI voiced PlayStation fanboy channel essentially, and what they're talking about right now is more so the PS6 and PSP3. Whoa, dude, with PS5 Pro featured deep dive, dude. Do you really need to make a deep dive or whatever about a slightly more specced out PS5? Are you serious, man? This is what you console dudes have to be excited about? This is kind of sad, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know? Like, I bet you guys really think that I'm like this stingy a-hole, who will not spend a single dime on these consoles because he's cheap. Not very true. I bought the Legion Go not too long ago. I bought the Steam Deck, and I bought a over $1,000 PC. Like, it was a couple of years ago, but that's because I don't need to upgrade. If I did, I would have. It's like, not really. You see, when I spend my money, it's all about the value of it, right? So the Switch, the Switch 2, my God, man. I keep calling it the Switch because it's literally the same recycled issues, but worse, but whatever. The Switch 2 is not worth 450, especially with the games, especially with the service, but I'm saying even, not even with those, right? This console is simply not worth 450. Why? Because we're already having issues of games running on it. Like Cyberpunk, like, I don't know. I heard like other games too, so I'm fucking tired. I don't care. But what I'm trying to say is that like Cyberpunk and other games are not going to be the only ones running like shit on the Switch 2. They're not. So I already see the issues like before they're even occurring, and it's like, yeah, no, the system is definitely not worth 450. They're trying to fool you. They're trying to, like, just make you pay more for the same thing that you bought the Switch for in 2017. The system should have been 350 if it's going to be another underpowered piece of shit handheld. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, but yeah. And also, I'm potentially getting a Steam Deck. I'm potentially getting a Steam Deck OLED soon with 1 terabyte of memory for over $600. So, yeah. See, like, that's more than the Switch 2 up front. But I'm willing to spend that because I know that system is worth it. Even though I already have a Steam Deck. You see what I mean? So.
You could even join me.
So, yeah, this was honestly just some stupid commercial that he put for some reason.
Sony might be making a comeback in handheld gaming, like real handheld gaming. Not just another screen that mirrors your console. I'm talking about the rumors of a full-blown PSP3 or PS Vita 2, a device that could run PS4 games natively and maybe even touch some PS5 titles. And
whoa, dude, I'm so happy. Hey, I already have a portable that could do that. It's called the Legion Go and Steam Deck. Oops.
what's even crazier is they just dropped the PlayStation Portal, a device that literally only streams games from your PS5. So now the big question is,
oh, and yeah, I bet you simped for that though, but okay.
What's Sony doing here? Are they trying to revive portable gaming? Are they stepping on their own toes? Or are they finally listening to the people who've been begging for a proper handheld since the Vita got left behind? In this video, we're diving into the...
Well, here's the thing about the PSP and the Vita. They were both awesome handhelds that, well, the Vita died because of stupid greed and like abandonment by Sony, let's be honest. Like, the prices of the Vita, not the system itself, it was fine. It was okay. $250 to $300 was well worth this amazing system at the time. Problem was the memory cards, the stuff after it, kind of like the Switch 2. Oh, look at that. Actually, the Switch 2 is just worse overall. But yeah, I mean, really though, right? For the power that the Vita had, it was amazing. But here's the thing though, even the Vita was more exciting because it had its own games. Did it have a lot of games? No, unfortunately. But you weren't aware of the possibility, like the possibilities of the Vita were so awesome that you almost didn't care in the beginning, like what financial problems this thing may have had, right? You were like, oh my god, imagine this game on this amazing system, or imagine if Sony made a game like this on this amazing system. But now we don't have that anymore with console gaming. We really don't. It's like, oh wow, here's a PS6. What are they gonna do? Just up-res a fucking PS5 game? Or I'm sorry, slash PS4 game, because we all know that PS4 literally has most of the the PS5 has just PS4 games really on it. Let's be honest here. And yeah, it's just like, okay, well, there's nothing exciting about the next console generation, and let alone the next portable. Because if you guys are excited about a stupid portable that could play, or a Sony portable that could play PS4 and 5 games natively, you already have that. It's called the Legion Go. And the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, like, those have already happened now. Too little, too late. You know? Why would you be excited about another PlayStation Portable? Or I'm sorry, not even a brand new PlayStation Portable that has its own games, that has its own tech, that has its own whatever, right? No. This is just another way of playing your games that you already have, which are lackluster on the PS5 and 4 right now. What the hell is so exciting about that?
Success of the PS Portal, the rumors surrounding Sony's next handheld, and how all of this might be connected. Because if Sony plays this right, it could be a game changer. But if they don't, well, we've seen how that story ends before. But before we jump into what's next, let's rewind a bit. Back in 2005, Sony dropped the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, and honestly, it was a game changer. This thing wasn't just another handheld. It was sleek, powerful, and packed a gorgeous widescreen display that made every Nintendo.
Yeah, and it had a lot of like multimedia features that, hell, even the PS5 don't have. You can't play music on your PS5 unless you download Spotify. Not what I mean. That's a modern way of doing it, yeah, but it's like, dude, you're able to download music on your PSP and PS3 and play them. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's something that you're able to do on your iPhone now and shit like that, right? Like, hell, that's crazy to think about that you're able to do that shit, right? Insane. But oh my god, Sony now is a complete joke. They're a shadow of their former self. Like, the PS4 wasn't even as feature-heavy as the PS3 was. Like, dude, the PS3 in the beginning was a fucking monster. It was absolutely amazing. It let you play Linux. It let you play Blu-ray and DVDs, which I know the PS5 does. To their credit, and the Series X, that's what they're able to do, and that's awesome. But you have to understand, at the time, that was a much bigger deal. And then you're able to download music and play it on your PS3, and like, not only that, you could do that with movies, you could have done that with videos, you could have done that with everything. Dude, the PS3 was a fucking beast. I love it. I love that damn system. So awesome, man. And then, also, another amazing thing about the PS3 was that somehow, I forgot how, but my brother was able to put okay, well, he was playing a Dragon Ball Z game, right? But, like, something happened. I don't know what happened. But he was somehow able to get the music from his music library on his PS3, and he was able to play it on his Dragon Ball Z game for the PS3, whatever it was. I think it was Raging Blast 2 or whatever. He was able to play that, bro. He was able to play music that was on his PS3 onto that game somehow. I don't know how, but it happened. And, like, that shows you the freedom of the PS3. You're not going to get that freedom with the PS6. You're not going to get that freedom with the new portable. Who cares?
Held at the time look kinda ancient. And it wasn't just the looks. The PSP was pushing near console quality gaming on the go. Full 3D games, cinematic cutscenes, voice acting. It felt like you were carrying a mini PlayStation 2 in your hands.
Yup, exactly. Shit that we're not gonna get now, except, oh, here's The Last of Us remastered. Like, what are you idiots gonna get with a new fucking portable? And another awesome thing about the PSP was that it complemented the PS3. As in, hey, if you want a smaller, version of your game that was on the PS3, possibly that's on the PSP, go ahead and do that. Oh, look, there's this PS2 game, that happened to be on the PSP. If you want PS2 games on the go, you might want to buy the PSP. And unlike the Switch, those games were actually made around the PSP. I think the PSP was honestly the best of both worlds, dude. You had unique games, and you even had games from consoles as well, but still made around the PSP. The PSP was fucking awesome. And I'm sad. I am sad that I did not get to experience one at its prime. I really am.
were impressed. It scored well across the board and players were hyped. Like, this wasn't a kiddie handheld. This was for real. It launched with Lumines, Ridge Racer, and Wipeout Pure. But over time, it built a crazy library. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, God of War, Chains of Olympus.
Oh my god, yeah, and I have that one, by the way. I have that one. It's so fucking good. Oh god, it's much better than the slop that you have now. Than the God of War 2018 and Ragnarok.
Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, Daxter, Persona 3 Portable, and that's just scratching the surface. Even some console ports ran surprisingly well. Sales-wise, it crushed. Over 80 million units sold worldwide. It didn't outsell the Nintendo...
It absolutely deserves more. It absolutely deserves more. This fucking underrated beast of a handheld deserves way more. Not to mention, it's a amazing emulation machine, too. So, yeah, I mean, really. You know?
Yeah. Sure, but it still became one of the best-selling handhelds ever. It also found weird success in places like Japan, where games like Monster Hunter turned it into a cultural phenomenon. It was Sony's first handheld, and it worked, but success like that comes with pressure, and their next move wouldn't be as smooth. Alright, so let's talk about the PS Vita, Sony's handheld that honestly had a lot of potential, but just didn't take off like it should have.
It didn't take off because of Sony. This portable had every business in the world to be successful. Hell, possibly even crush the 3DS. I'm not lying to you guys. The 3DS, when it launched, was as much as this guy when he launched. $250. Who the fuck would pay for that for a dinky-ass shitty 3DS? But a PS Vita? This next-generation portable? Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go. But you know what happened? Sony got greedy, and Sony got lazy. They did not support the system nowhere near as much as they should have. And then on top of that, they also made stupid-ass proprietary memory cards instead of allowing you to use microSD cards, which was standard at the time. They were fucking idiots, man. Or SD cards. One of the two were more standard than the other at the time. But they didn't give you the option of SD cards. They didn't give you the option of fucking microSD cards. You had to buy these shitty proprietary memory cards, which, by the way, you still had to pay like a hefty penny for. You know, like, I'm looking around to eBay and whatever, and you still have to pay a stupid amount for it. Like, the best thing for you to do, realistically, is mod your PS Vita to to be able to use micro SD card. You could do that now. You know, you could absolutely do that. So, that's what I would do if I were you guys.
Beautiful screen, real analog sticks, solid games. But yeah, it kind of flopped. And here's why. First, the timing was just bad. The Vita came out right when smartphones were blowing up. Everyone was already playing games.
No. That was not why. Mobile gaming was never the reason why console gaming died. Stop. This was never a thing back then, and it's never a thing now. The reason why mobile gaming and PC gaming is blowing up is because they offer value. The Vita did not get enough games to get that value. And not to, because they already, look, I know I already said, like, oh, well, you know, you said that, that games do not give the, it's not the only thing that gives the consoles value. You're right, because it already did everything else right. Their hardware was great. The price of said hardware was fine. The online was free. If you guys don't remember, the Vita's online is actually free. So, yes, everything else it already did right. It already had value in every other place. Except for the memory cards that you have to fucking buy. Because the Vita did not come with any in-storage memory. Except the PS Vita Slim, which I shit you not, only came with 1 gigabyte. I'm not fucking lying to you. Oh my god. Wow. And you thought that the Switch was bad, right? With the 32 gigabytes. Hey, man. Oh god. But to the Vita's credit, unlike the shitty ass Switch and Switch 2 that's coming out, the Vita actually had the games in the cartridge. So you don't have to download any extra bullshit unless they didn't put it in for some reason. Like, you know, Square Enix didn't put the the Final Fantasy X-2 with the collection on the cartridge. Fucking idiots.
Their phones. Stuff like Angry Birds and Temple Run. And they were free. So why would anyone drop a few $100 on a separate gaming device? It didn't make much sense to most people. Then there was the 3DS. Nintendo was killing it with that thing. Mario, Pokemon, and...
Not in the beginning. Not in the beginning, motherfucker. You know, that 3DS was actual shit. Really, it was terrible fucking value in the beginning. Absolutely. It's not when they did a heavy price cut. You know, is when that stupid thing took off. So the Vita launching at $250 was nowhere near as bad as the 3DS launching at $250. So let's be fucking honest here. This is coming from more of a Nintendo dude, guys. I love the Vita. The Vita is honestly one of the most underrated platforms of all time. You know? But I don't blame people for not buying it. I'm just saying, like, the way Sony treated it is fucking monstrous. It's horrible.
Crossing, games that were perfect for short, fun sessions. Meanwhile, the Vita was trying to give you full console-style games in your pocket. Sounds cool, but not everyone wanted to dive into a long, story-driven game while sitting on a bus. Now
That's not true. That's not true. I hated this stupid argument. What do you mean? No one wants to have these console games on the go. Switch? Hello? No, they didn't want that? You fucking moron? You sure? God, I'm not really saying this person, but every person made this stupid fucking argument. The 3DS was better for portable gaming. Your iPhone was better for portable gaming then, if we're going to use that fucking argument. Right? Your iPods or whatever, they were even better then, if you want to go that route. Right? That was not the issue. The issue is that the Vita did not have enough of said software. In fact, like, I bet if Sony had, like, more free-to-play games on the Vita, you know, like, to tie people over, I think that thing would have sold better. I really do. It just did not have enough games. It didn't have enough, like, you know, extra stuff, you know? It didn't have, like, you know, the free-to-play games that iOS had, and it didn't have as much, like, first-party at the time, right? Like, because, like, the 3DS was out for a year, so finally they got their shit together. Or more, I don't know. But Nintendo finally gave the 3DS a decent amount of games. The Vita did not get that opportunity. That's the problem. That was the only problem now. Right? And also, it wasn't even just the games. It was also the fact that, oh, wait, I need more memory? What? So this thing doesn't come with memory? Huh? Wait. You're telling me I had to buy these really expensive memory cards? So the system is not really $300. It's actually, you know, and I'm not fucking kidding you guys. If you wanted to get 64 gigabytes, I'm not kidding. 64 fucking gigabytes? Dude, you had to cough up like $100-something. I'm not lying. That's still the case now. That's still the case now. Man, absolutely ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh my god.
About the price. The Vita wasn't cheap. And then, Sony made things worse by forcing you to buy their weird memory cards. Like, you couldn't just use a
thank you. That's an actual valid reason, yes.
regular SD card. You had to buy their custom ones, and they were way overpriced. That turned off a lot of people right away. The games.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. That's what turned them off.
Few great ones at launch. Uncharted Golden Abyss, Persona 4 Golden. But after a year or two, the big titles just stopped coming. Sony slowly stopped caring about the Vita and focused all their attention on the
Yeah, like and like, not to mention that like, you know, the Call of Duty game on there no one cared about because it was trash, I heard. I didn't play it, but yeah, I can imagine it's not very good. Which I don't understand how you guys made good Call of Duty games on the PS2, GameCube and shit, but you couldn't make a good one on the Vita. I don't understand that. The Vita is fucking awesome, like, so I don't understand how you didn't do that. I don't know. And then let's see. And then, like, on top of that as well, yeah, like, they stopped porting, like, amazing games or even making amazing games for the Vita. Like, what was it? What was the name? That girl oh yeah, Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush was a great start for the Vita, but that's not what people asked for. Like, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, but we wanted more, you know what I mean? Like, we wanted, like, a Twisted Metal. We wanted a, you know, a Infamous game. Oh my god, Infamous! Infamous would have been awesome on the Vita. Awesome. This handheld is much better than the Switch and Switch 2 ever will be. And it sucks. It really does suck to me that this amazing handheld did not get the same chances as the Switch and probably that piece of shit Switch 2 as well. You know, it sucks.
PlayStation 4. When the company gives up on their own system, players usually follow. And yeah, some of the design choices were strange. Like the rear touchpad. Neat idea, but barely any games used it in a cool way. And you couldn't plug the thing into a TV, so no Switch style playing on the big screen. That limited how people could enjoy it. It's kind of a shame. People still look back on the Vita fondly. It had a lot going for it, but the market just wasn't ready, and Sony kinda gave up too soon. So it makes you wonder, what if they had just made a few different choices? Could the Vita have actually been a hit? Let's talk about the PlayStation Portal, Sony's weird little gadget that, honestly, nobody really asked for at first, but somehow ended up being a massive hit. Like, it actually broke sales records, and that's wild, considering how skeptical people—
Yeah, people do tend to buy hardware in the beginning. But what's happening with it now? It's not selling anywhere near as much. Like, yeah, that stuff happens.
When it dropped. So, what is it? The Portal is basically a screen with a DualSense controller split in half around it. That's it. No internal hardware to run games. It just streams your PS5 over Wi-Fi. And yeah.
Yeah, which is stupid. If it was like at least like an Android tablet that you could play Android games natively, that's fine. That'd be fine. That'd be A-okay. Right? Like, yeah, I would have got the thing. Fuck, why not? You know, and then you could also stream your PS5 games on top of that? Fucking hell, bro. Sign me up. You know? I would have been more than happy to pay for that. But no, it doesn't let you play any fucking games natively. It doesn't let you play anything natively. Nothing. So it's like, okay, so what if I don't have any connection? Then you're just a paperweight? That's it? Gee, thanks a lot, bro. Like... And then, like, yes, I did hear that as long as your PS5 is connected, you could actually play the thing anywhere, but it's like, I don't care. I also just don't care. You know? It's like, I don't find it comforting at all that my system is like constantly on life support with this shitty Wi-Fi, you know? I don't ever find that comfortable. Like, just the other day, right? My Wi-Fi just went down out of nowhere. Like, it came back up relatively short. Like in, I would say 30 seconds. But it's like, okay, what if I was playing a fucking game like Epic Mickey right here? You know? It doesn't have safe spots everywhere. So, oh, shit. Oh, wait, yeah, true. It just, okay, never mind. Because, yeah, never mind. Sorry. I did forget. But still, like, that would interrupt my gameplay. Not that it would shut off or anything, because thankfully it's an offline game, but that doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is that would shut off my experience right there. You know? So, it's very, very unstable.
That's where a lot of the early hate came from. People were like, wait, this thing only works if I already have a PS5, and it doesn't even work outside my house unless I set it up right. Sounded super limited, but here's the thing. People bought it anyway. A lot of people. By the end of 2024, around 2 million of these things were sold. That's roughly 3% of all PS5 owners. It even became the best-selling PS5 accessory of the year. So, what happened? Well, for starters, the price was kinda just right. $200. Not cheap, but not crazy either. Especially for folks who already had a PS5 and just wanted to keep playing without hogging the living room TV. Like, imagine...
Yeah, but you could have just bought like a fucking backbone for your phone and just done the same thing. I just don't understand the craze of this stupid thing. I really don't. It's, again, yeah, you can't play PS5 games natively, even though, make it a little bit more expensive, obviously, and they could have. They could have made you at least play PS4 games. Yeah, make it $400 and like the ability to play at least PS4 games with patches of PS5 games. There you fucking go, dude. Hell yeah. You know? Even though, again, I'm not really interested in that since I already have a Steam Deck and shit. But if this did it before the Steam Deck and stuff like that, there's value in that. There's a lot of value in that. You know?
Your partner wants to watch Netflix, and you're in the middle of a game. Boom. Portal lets you keep going without a fight over the remote. Then there's the screen. It's an 8-inch LCD, and it's actually super...
So great. You're using the same gimmick as the Wii U, essentially. Wow. Except at least the Wii U gamepad didn't need online to function. You see the problem there? The Wii U gamepad did not need online to function.
Sharp. Pair that with the same DualSense controls you already know and love, and it starts to feel like a legit handheld experience, even though it's just remote play. But yeah, it's not perfect. It needs strong Wi-Fi. If your connection sucks, your experience...
And the Wi-Fi, and the frame rate was dog shit too. On top of your already dog shit performance on console. Oh boy. But, yeah, you guys even had shit frame rates because obviously it was streaming this big, gargantuan game. So, yeah.
Experience is gonna suck too. And because it doesn't play anything natively, like no cloud streaming, no offline games, you're kind of locked into that PS5 ecosystem. Critics pointed all this out, and for good reason. Still, for a very specific kind of player, the one who wants more flexibility around the house, it just made sense. Sony found this niche between a handheld and a streaming device, and it hit hard. So now I'm wondering, was this just a one-off win, or is Sony quietly setting the stage for something bigger in handheld gaming again? So here's what's going on. There's been a lot...
Well, if they are, it's too late. Again, I'd much rather buy another Steam Deck or something like that, or even a Steam Deck 2, than their shitty fucking handheld, whatever it's going to be. Because I know you're still, A, going to have to pay for online, obviously, and B, you're probably going to have to pay for, like, PS5 upgrades or patches or whatever that they're going to do with it. I don't know what they're... But I could just imagine that already, you know? And C, it's just, I don't see any stability in it. I just don't. I just feel like they're going to try to nickel and dime you everywhere they can. In fact, if anything, they're probably going to charge you to play it portably. I would not put it past any of these 3 console dudes anymore. So you know how you guys have to pay for $10 for the PS5 upgrade from your PS4 sometimes, or most of the time with your PS4 upgrades? Yeah, that's what I would feel that they would do with the portable. Like, they would, have you pay what, like $10? They would have you pay like $10 to play it portably. Like, Jesus.
A lot of chatter lately about Sony possibly working on a new handheld. Some folks are calling it the PS Vita 2. Others are throwing around names like PSP3. Whatever it ends up being called, the rumor is it might actually be able to run PS4 games natively, and maybe even some PS5 games too. That's a bold claim. So yeah, let's break this down like we always do.
So it's a PlayStation Steam Deck. Again, you having to pay for online, so it's a PlayStation Steam Deck, but without the freedom. Awesome.
The big idea here is that Sony's supposedly building this thing with some custom AMD hardware inside. Not just another remote play device like the Portal. This one would actually play games directly, no streaming. So you'd be able to take real PlayStation games with you on the go. Imagine booting up Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man 2 on a train. That's the dream.
You can. It's called the Steam Deck. Jesus.
Right? And honestly, it's not that far-fetched. The Steam Deck proved that handhelds can pack serious power these days. The tech is—
Oh, there you are. You mentioned it. Okay, cool.
There. And with how popular the Nintendo Switch still is, Sony jumping back in now wouldn't be the worst idea, especially since they kinda left a hole in the market after the Vita faded out. Plus, think about the library.
Again, I would just kind of want it to have its own games. I'm sorry, but I'm not impressed with the PS5 library. I'm not impressed with the recent PS4 library. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe playing PS4 games should be the bonus, but not the main thing. No, man. Like, you need to give this thing its own set of games. Otherwise, I don't care. Now, I don't care if it's exclusive. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you need to make games like around this hardware, and then you can port it to PS5. I don't give a fuck. All I'm saying is that I want games made around this thing, and I want it to have said games, running flawlessly on it. I don't want this 30 frames per second bullshit that we're getting with the Switch and Switch 2, most likely. So I'm sorry, but not really anything exciting there if it's just going to play PS4 games. Again, my Steam Deck does that. I don't care. In fact, it even plays other PS4 games when you use Shad PS4. Or Shad PS4. The emulator for the PS4 that allows you to play something like, Bloodborne at 60 frames per second. What, is this portable going to do that? I don't think so.
So many PS4 games that would feel right at home on a portable screen. If they get the controls right and keep the experience smooth, it could be a huge win. But, and there's always a but, people are skeptical. Some are worried this might just be Sony trying to chase the Steam Deck's success. Like, instead of making a unique handheld built around original games, it could end up as just a portable PS5 Lite. Big.
Yup, exactly. Exactly. And that's what I'm worried about too. And and it's like, yeah, and here's the thing. If the PS4 and PS5 games were anything to write home about, okay, maybe that could be fine as the only gimmick, right? As the only selling point. But it's not. They're not good. So if it's just going to be an extension of something that I was not interested in the first place, like the PS4 and 5 ecosystem, or the PlayStation ecosystem as a whole, then I'm sorry. I have no interest in you. There's nothing that you offer that I don't have already. There you go.
Clunky, short battery life, and kinda missing its own identity. And to make things more confusing, Sony's also been focused on adding PS3 games to PS5 and messing around with streaming options. So
yeah, streaming.
Who knows if this handheld idea is even their priority right now? Bottom line, nothing's official. We're deep in rumor territory. But if this actually happened—
Deep in rumor territory, and this thing, even with the rumors, sound useless. I mean, this is what I hate about console gaming, bro. It's like, you guys have nothing. You guys have nothing. Like, you guys constantly talk about rumors of a shitty portable or whatever from Microsoft, from Sony, whatever, right? Like, and it's like they're lame, they're sad, they're terrible. They all sound like something that I already have, or a shittier equivalent of something that I already have. Like the Steam Deck and ROG Ally, say it with me now. Like, come on, man. It's like, who the hell wants this shit? Who? Like, I mean, I do. Then go buy a Steam Deck, motherfucker. What are you doing on the PS5 still? If you want it, go to the fucking Steam Deck. Or ROG Ally or whatever, you know what I mean. Go get the portable PCs. What are you doing on console still? You know? It's like, damn. Well, I don't want to rebuy my library. Yeah, well, if you want to wait like fucking years and years and years, I guess you could wait. Like, it's not a big deal to me at that point. It's like, okay, well, if you really want to play your PS4 and 5 games portably that badly, it's probably more worth it for you to buy the game again and buy a Steam Deck and all that stuff than waiting for the portable that's most likely going to nickel and dime you even more so than probably the PS4 Pro. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. Like, I hate to say it, I hate to break it down to you, but that's how it is. Not to mention that, how do you fucking know that they're not going to charge you to then play a portable version of the game that you already own? How do you know that? How do you fucking know that?
And it plays PlayStation 4 games straight out of the box, that could be something special. So what do you think? Is Sony finally ready to get handheld gaming right this time? Or are we just getting our hopes up again? Let's think this through. If Sony really is working...
Well, here's a problem with the Vita, right? The only thing that was an issue was Sony's greed. And coming from the failures that were the PS5 Pro, right? The PS5 Pro, and also the PSVR 2, the PS Portal was a friggin' thing that got lucky, let's be honest here. But yeah, the PSVR 2 and the PS5 Pro, both being complete and utter failures, you know, what do you think they're going to do with the PlayStation Portal? Like, I don't have any confidence in them, and I think that's very right for me to have that sentiment.
So, PSP3 or PS Vita 2, basically a true handheld that can run games natively, then yeah, that's gonna raise a few eyebrows when you stack it up against the PS Portal. Because here's the thing, the Portal just came out, right? It's a remote play only device. It doesn't run games by itself. You need a PS5, a good Wi-Fi connection, and you're basically streaming games from your console to the screen. It's great for what it does, but it's kind of a one-trick pony. Now, imagine Sony drops a...
Or a one-trick Sony pony.
PSP3 that doesn't need streaming. It just plays PlayStation 4 and maybe PlayStation 5 games by itself. That instantly makes the Portal feel kinda limited, no? Like, who's gonna drop $200 on a device that requires a PS5 and Wi-Fi, when for maybe a bit more, you could get something that works anywhere and doesn't depend on another console? That's a tough sell. But here's where it gets interesting. These two devices could serve different types of gamers. The Portal is for folks who already own a PS5.
Well, like, not to mention that I don't think anyone else is buying the PS Portal. Like, I think the Portal is very niche, right? That's what I think.
Just want to keep gaming around the house. The rumored PSP3, though, that could be for people who want portability, something they can throw in a bag and take on a trip without worrying about connections or being tethered to their living room. That said, the overlap is real. If the PSP3 ends up being everything people hope for, it kinda steals the Portal's thunder, especially if the price gap isn't huge. So yeah, there's definitely potential for conflict. Either Sony's gotta position these devices very clearly, like one's a companion, the other's a full standalone, or they risk the PSP3 making the Portal feel...
Or... you know, again, hear me out. I think people already know that something is going to be more native and something is going to be more streaming. You know, if Sony did not make that obvious from the get-go, I think they're just that stupid then. Like, I don't know what to say.
Obsolete just a year after launch. Kinda makes you wonder, did Sony launch the Portal...
Does anyone who have any interest in the Portal, okay, tell me, does anyone... who has any interest in that thing really think that you could play games natively? I don't think so, you know.
Gap to test the waters before going all in on a proper handheld? Or are they seriously trying to support both long-term? Today we're diving into the biggest questions everyone's asking. What kind of chip will power this beast? Are we sticking with AMD, or is there a chance Sony might make the bold move to Intel? And let's...
Why would they do that? If you want to play like your PS4 games or whatever, use the same architecture. It'll be much easier. AMD. Duh.
Be real, what's happening with backwards compatibility? Will it run games from the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, or even go deeper into PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2 territory? Heck, could it even support Xbox 360 games?
Oh, behave.
Then there's the question on everyone's mind. When will it hit the shelves? Are we looking at 2027, or could it sneak in earlier? And how about that price? Are we looking at a steep $700 like the PS5 Pro?
Most likely, yeah, exactly. Yup. Meanwhile, you get the Steam Deck OLED for much less than that with 1 terabyte. Oh yeah.
Or is Sony going to throw us a bone with a more modest $500 starting point? Will it still come with a disk drive, or is that headed the way of the dodo? Now the biggest question of them all, will the...
You honestly think that this portable is going to have a disk drive, let alone come with it? Are you serious? Like, oh my god, that's wishful thinking. That right there. I mean,
PS6
wow.
finally be able to play games with path tracing, and finally, what will make the PS6 a must-have on day one? Let's dive into all this and more right now on Daily Hub Ranks.
Yeah, baby.
Here's what we know so far. It's pretty clear we're going to hear more about the next-gen PlayStation sooner than later. Sony's senior VP, Naomi Matsuoka, hinted earlier in 2024 that the PS5 is entering the latter stages of its life cycle. While that's not an outright confirmation of the PS6, it's a pretty strong signal that things are moving behind the scenes. We don't have a hard date yet, but there's been some serious speculation. The biggest hint? An official Microsoft court
Why though? Again, why? Does anyone want a PS6? I'm confused. Who the hell wants a fucking PS6 at this point? I feel like the PS5 barely started its run cycle. I feel like I've been getting PS4 games with that piece of shit for the most time, really for the longest time. Or hell, forget for the PS5, for this whole gaming industry. I felt like I've been getting PS4 games. Like, what? I don't know, man. It's like, who's excited for this? Don't buy the PS6 or next Xbox. What are you guys doing with your lives?
From the Activision Blizzard acquisition, it suggests Sony could lose access to games like Call of Duty by 2027, which could line up with the launch of the PS6. This matches Sony's usual console cycle. The PS4 was around for 7 years before the PS5 dropped, and if history repeats itself, we're likely looking at late 2027. This is where things get dicey. Pricing is always a gamble, and without solid specs, it's hard to pin down. Based on previous releases, it's hard to imagine the PS6 dropping for less than 500.
Well, I'm gonna give you guys, a whole glimpse into the future here. At least my predictions, right? The fucking PlayStation, whatever, this whole PS4/5 native portable, whatever you want to call it, right, is gonna have your library for the PS4. You're most likely going to have to pay extra if you want to play it portably, much like how, you have the PS4 to PS5 upgrades. You're gonna have the fucking PS4 to 5, PS4 or 5 to portable downgrade. Like you're gonna have to pay for that. So that's a bold statement I'm going to fucking make right now. I think Sony will do that. That's one. And two is that you're still gonna have to pay for online. Duh. So that's a ripoff already, because isn't there another rumor about Sony fucking raising the price of the PSN already? Again. So, yeah, no. And then 3, you're most likely gonna have to pay $500 to $700 for this piece of shit. So, with all those things, oh boy, you're gonna have to pay a lot. You're gonna have to pay a decent amount. So, here's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not worth it. Come to PC. Go buy a Steam Deck if you really want great, amazing, modern gaming on the go. Buy yourself a Steam Deck, preferably a Steam Deck OLED, or a Legion Go, or a ROG Ally, instead of this garbage-ass heap of a possible PlayStation Portable. This new PlayStation Portable.
But given the rising cost of cutting-edge tech and inflation, we might be looking at $600 or even $700. Considering the PS5 Pro is already priced at $699 without a disc driver stand, that higher price tag doesn't seem too far-fetched. It could sting for early adopters, but if the console is packing some serious...
Exactly. I'm happy that this AI fanboy channel actually acknowledges that. That's... I mean, really. This person really calmed down on their fanboyism, I have to say. They really did.
Power and features, it might just be worth it. Let's talk about the guts of the PS6. While there's no official word, we're almost certain Sony will stick with AMD. Moore's Law is dead claimed with 100% certainty that AMD will continue powering the PS6, just like it did with the PS5. If true, this could mean excellent backwards compatibility and an easier transition for cross-gen games. As for other hardware, it's likely we'll see a major SSD upgrade. After all, the PS5's SSD drastically cut down load times. And by 2027, we'll probably see a minimum of 2 terabyte storage, especially if there's a digital-only model. The leap from a Gen 4 SSD in the PS5 to a Gen 5 SSD for the PlayStation 6 feels like a natural progression. So why should you care? A fast SSD does more than just cut down on loading times. It also helps with how quickly assets are loaded in open world games. For example, ever been running through a game and suddenly objects or textures appear out of nowhere? That's called a pop-in, and it can break immersion. Stuttering or lag can occur when the game struggles to keep up with loading assets. In games with dynamic weather, time of day changes, or large numbers of NPCs, with how important load times have become, a Gen 5 SSD could push the boundaries even further.
Wow, so you're selling a system on load times and faster bullshit. Faster pop-ins. Buy a PS6, guys! You know, who knows if Sony will raise the fucking PSN price for a third, fourth, fifth time, you know, during the PS6 times, because, you know, they're not really trying to give value with the system. They're trying to nickel and dime you with every system. Don't believe me? Look at the PS4. No, look at the PS3 to the PS4. Look at the PS4 to the PS5. Rip off. Every single generation, they ripped you off more and more. Same goes with Xbox. You know? Same goes with the fucking Nintendo. All these console manufacturers do is rip you off more and more. As soon as they get you, oh, they're going to try to lock you down more and more and try to make you spend more and more. Meanwhile, the PC is a free platform. It's a freedom platform. You can do whatever the hell you want. You don't pay for online. And you get a lot of amazing sales on games. Sony doesn't even, like, allow other digital options for their storefront. I mean, come on, bro. Wake the fuck up here. Right? I mean, hell, at least, like, Nintendo and Microsoft allows you, you know, to get digital codes from other places. Sony doesn't. They don't. So, I mean, damn. I mean, are we really going to pretend to be excited for the PS6? I wouldn't. Not me. Anyways, guys, I think this is going to end it now. So please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.